And g'day guys, and welcome. My name is Michael, I'm the Dead Aussie Gamer, and welcome to another DAG Reads, a kind of a chill out stream where we sit down and we read and enjoy. Well, right now we're reading and enjoying Emily Rodda's The Rowan of Rin, the series of Rowan of Rin books called The Journey. It's one of the first fantasy books I ever read as a young adult, and yeah, like my nostalgia kicked in. I saw it in a bookshop. We fundraised and we bought it, and then we got it, and that's the thing. We have it here. Now we're not gonna get started straight away because I, silly Michael, have not eaten yet, and I have, behold, I have a beef Wellington, and I'm gonna eat it because oh no, what happened? I pushed a button. Oh, actually, you know what? You guys have caught me. This is my production mode. There you go. So, production mode. Check this out. This is a new thing I've been playing around with for shows, which I wasn't going to reveal, but I am going to now because why the hell not? Okay, check this out. Check this out. I have now got it so that if I go here and go here, when I talk, it actually lights up and puts little flamey things on. How cool is that? So I'm actually going to be looking at doing a few different like little streams and stuff like that. Get it animated so that it's like bouncing and opening its mouth at the same time. But yeah, how cool is that? Isn't that nifty? I think it's nifty. Okay, anyway, I digress. Let me go back to the other screen here. Cool. Yeah. Push the wrong button, that's what happens. But yeah, there you go. Little sneak preview of stuff that we're doing. How are you guys? Hope you guys are doing well. Can you guys hear me? I feel like maybe I'm talking to myself. No, there we go. Okay, yeah, cool. Just needed to make sure. Ugh, could you imagine this whole time? Just no one says anything. Thanks, guys. That's fine. But yeah, actually I should probably also drop out of that. Boop, there it is. Out of that chat. But yeah, so that's what's been going on with my life. What's been going on with you guys? Have you guys been doing Thanksgiving? What's gonna be really cool? Like, tell me, what was your week like? I can hear you, but I'm having buffering issues. Buffering issues? Oh no! Well, Gerald, if you are having some issues, we do have. Hold on, let me see if I can find this real quick. If you are having some buffering issues, try going here. And alternatively, if you are not having buffering issues, yeah, even if you are having buffering issues, just like chat in this chat, because I'll only be watching the Twitch chat, I think. Okay, cool. There we go. That's there. So yeah, see if that helps. So this is going to be a few streams where you swap your avatar in for when I need a break. Yeah, well, pretty much exactly that, Schoolie. Plus, I have a few of my friends who are basically animated cartoon characters. So I thought just to make things easy on them, it might actually be a cool idea to have, like, animated characters so that they can play in my live games and not have to, you know, like, miss out. So, people like Dingo Doodles, for example, Crit Crab, and a few others. This is just something I've been learning to try and, you know, yeah, get these guys on. So yeah, there you go. Not be here on one of the best things, especially suffering. Oh, you've done your Christmas shopping. Fair enough. Yeah, no, that sounds hectic. That sounds hectic. It is an undead one. Well, it's an undead Dracolich. It is our little pet. It is called Phantom. Phantom lives off bits. You can donate bits to feed Phantom. He is a dual channel mascot. We love him. We love him. Hey, Miss Bowman, good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome in. I'm gonna keep talking and I'm gonna keep eating because that's the thing. This isn't an eating stream. This is a reading stream. But I need to make headway in this. Oh, listen to that though. Listen to that. Listen. How good does that phyllo pastry sound? That sounds amazing. Yeah, no, my weekend's been pretty good. I've spent most of today just relaxing, which is very unlike me. It took a little bit of effort to do so because I always feel like I've got to stream on or I've got things to do. Went and checked out Robert Hartley over on the Dice Legends chat. So if you guys haven't checked it out, the latest thing... It's not like you're hungry. Oh, man. But if you haven't checked out Dice Legends, absolutely. I think that's how they spell it. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, if you haven't checked out Dice Legends, Rob was on today's game with them as a special guest. A lot of fun. Oh, night shift. Sounds fun. Honestly, you guys don't expend my energy. You guys give me so much energy. No joke. This is one of the reasons why I stream so much. I don't know. And it's something about hanging out with people makes me happy. Let me move this over here a bit. There you go. So I've got a few projects in the works over the next week or so. I will be, let's see. Tomorrow I don't think there's anything special. We have our Patreon game as per usual. But then Tuesday, I've got a recording with Classic Sam, one of our fans, to do like a little like chat and interview and stuff like that. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. Wednesday, we're gonna be over with Careful Cantrip, doing the Careful Cantripy things. And then Thursday, which will be December 1st for me, we're gonna be over with Winter's Tales, doing a one-shot to celebrate their 1-year anniversary. So that's also very exciting. Also gives us channel points. Yeah, that's true. This is banking those channel points. That's very true. And you guys are all subscribers, so you guys are getting double points. So there you go. Hey, McBluff, so good to see you. Welcome in, welcome in. We're just, I'm just eating some dinner before we get started with the reading today. But yeah. Oh. So the character that we're looking at for AJ's game, I don't know, I'm thinking of like an Indiana Jones kind of character, like something like an archaeologist. Hey Hester, you're not late. I'm actually having a late dinner, so we're actually just hanging out while I eat dinner before I start reading. But welcome in. I'm having a delicious beef Wellington made by my lovely partner. So good. Oh, also, coming up, I will be doing a show with How to Be a Great GM, doing Dragonlance. And I read through some of the Dragonlance book recently, and I've started working on a character. Do you guys want to see a preview of the character? I kind of made him on Hero Forge, just because, you know, that's the whole thing. Did I mention that in Reign of Winter game, the plan... Is that off this week? In that plan. I think I may have mentioned it. Not sure. Maybe I did. Hey, Kethra, welcome in. We're just hanging out. I'm having a bit of food before we go to stream. Oh, well, I mean, we are on stream before we start our read. Having a Wellington. But yeah, let me share with you guys the Dragonlance character that I'd worked on before we do some stuff. Let's see, where are we? You will be in here, I believe. Now, where did I hide you is the question. D for Dragonlance. I really need to organize my stuff. All right, check it out. I feel like most of my characters kind of end up having a very similar look to them, but that's because I want some of my characters to kind of look like I can actually cosplay them if I want to. So there you go. That is my Dragonlance character. Very excited for it. I haven't got many specifics, but I think the group dynamic is we're all members of the High Sorcery, the Mages of the High Sorcery. Oh, thank you so much. Everything that's detailed. Wait, let me see if I can, let me see if I can show you the full picture. It should be here somewhere as well. Hey, there we go. Boom. That's the full picture of my character. Can I ask what did I think of Lady J's chibi design? I loved Lady J's chibi design. I thought it was so cool. I loved the line art as well. You should definitely get them done into like stickers and like sell them. I swear you'd get so much money on like Etsy and stuff. Time for the next Weasel donation. My God, I swear. You guys are mad when it comes to like Neil and stuff. This is equal parts joy and equal parts my livelihood, right? And I swear, you guys have it in for my players so much sometimes. And then on the other hand, on the flip side, you don't want them to die. You want to put them in incredibly dangerous situations and then save them. It's amazing, and I love that dynamic with you guys. We were playing a Starfinder game like about a year or so back with Neil. And Neil, he invites trouble. Not in a bad way, right? He's a great example of bad decisions done well. Because they're fun, they're engaging, they don't ruin the story, they don't interrupt anyone or disrupt things, right? But it gets people into enough trouble to create a really good vibe for the game. Now, in this Starfinder game that we had, it was the final episode, and we had like this multi-headed serpent kind of thing that basically it was an alien, come out and start attacking them, and Neil was the only person in peril. And I think this is the most money I ever made. I think chat spent like almost $300-400 just keeping Neil alive for that entire session. I had no idea, and I wasn't being mean. I wasn't trying to like, especially when people give money to protect someone. I'm like, I don't want to do that. But it was just bad decision after bad decision that rolled into like Neil, saving the day, which I thought was just amazing, and it was just so much fun. And it's just the highlight of like moments like. These are things that will happen on my table that will never happen in real life because of you guys, because of the audience that does stuff. And that sustains me way more than the money that I get for these shows. You guys give me so much to work with as a GM, as a creator, and I'm really grateful for you, all of you, for everything. Literally, if it's never said enough, I cannot share with you guys just how thankful I am to get to know you guys, to get to play with you guys and run games and stuff. But yeah. And yes, I do, McBluff. I absolutely do. I don't know what it is. It's like everyone just he's too fun. That's the trick. He's way too fun to have anyone have his character leave. It's like, no, if he leaves, he has to play a different character, but we love this character. No, he's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Man, this is so good. But I wanna maybe have a couple more bites and then we will get on to reading. Here's a question for you guys. Do you guys have like a favorite like activity in like the D&D streaming world? Like, we obviously have like the live plays, right? But I think live plays are really, like they're time consuming. They take a long time to really get invested and do the story stuff and things like that. But outside of that, you've got like DAG Reads, you've got Twitch Tales, you've got stuff like that. Is there something that really in the D&D world that you guys like love watching? Feel free to shout out any of the content creators that that do these sorts of things, because I'm very interested. I really want to do some stuff, and now that I've got a little bit more time, I'll be doing a lot more Hero Forge stuff, for example, which is I'm looking forward to. And I'm also going to be doing some voice acting stuff. Again, looking forward to that. But I'm actually curious to see what people like really enjoy. Oh my God, his laugh. You call it a cheeky laugh. I call it manic. He's always in such good spirits, that guy. Big love for Neil. Oh, you love my world building streams? Oh, maybe I should do some world building streams. I put it on the back burner because of PAX, and I just haven't had time to go back to it yet. But I do/did love building Olestria. Neil is awesome. He's given several heart attacks. I was watching live plays originally from Rob's channel before I shifted to mine. That ended up starting me into your own game. Oh, that's so good. That's amazing. I think the best thing about how me, Rob, Dread, and all that do stuff is that we are very different GMs that get on very, very well. Rob's style of gameplay is very different to mine. Rob's style of play is different to mine. Same with Dread. And it's so good because it means that we all kind of show people like what it is to play role-playing games, but in such drastically different ways. And it means so much to us to know that people are wanting to get into the hobby because of, you know, what we do and what we, you know, how we are. So that's amazing. It's cool, yeah. I have a job I love, but it takes up all my time. Just listening to a story like T-Tog, Twitch Tales, OG, you reading is the best, including one-shots. Aw, thanks, man. Like, I really appreciate that. And I'm really glad, too, because I always try, and you can probably watch a few of my streams and stuff like that. Whenever I'm on a stream, I always try to make all of my actions like super visual so that if anyone's like just listening to it, like Hester, for example, that they can enjoy it to the fullest through the descriptions that I have. That's one of the things. I mean, I don't, you know, like I'll very rarely say, yeah, I go and hit him with my axe. You know, I'll describe it. I'll like really bring it into the full thing. And I always worry that like I'm wasting people's time during game. But then I think to myself, I'm like, well, no, what if people are watching on their phone or, you know, just listening through headphones or whatever, you know, that's part of it. Those live plays, including Careful Cantrip, give you ideas on how to run, throw spanners into the scenarios. Dice Legends' way of doing the chase scenes. Yeah, the chase scenes are so good. Yeah, no, they did good. Okay. Oh, thank you, Mac. Okay. Go to Samadeshta. I'm going to put this in the kitchen, come back, and then we're going to start reading. Grave Gardener. I find myself visiting streams that are interactive. Twitch Tales City of Mist. Space Shark streams, Zenkai. Know me by creating Salazar. Aw, thank you. Salazar was the first character I ever ran with Rob, and he made the mistake, because we didn't know each other that well by that stage. And he turned around to me and he said, oh yeah, no, I'm really good at anything. I could do, you know, I could more or less do anything. And when he said that, I was like, oh really? Well, let's see what you see where I can push you. And you know what? Rob's one of the very few people who rose to that challenge. I said, what if I played a magic sword? What if I played a sword who controlled, like, who was a cursed weapon, but a really good one who, like, cursed someone? And Rob jumped into it. Even better was the whole idea behind it was I was a bard. So the sword would fight and I would defend and I would still take damage. We came up with a whole mechanic system for how this sword would still function almost entirely mechanically like another PC. But the funniest bit was that no one figured out he was a bard because no one wanted to listen to him because he was so insufferable. And then at the end of it, I think someone mentioned it's like, I swear to God, I thought you were a fighter because you're a sword. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Wield tiny swords? It was freaking hilarious. It was such a good character. And no, I loved every now and then I'll watch the introduction to Salazar. Swing! It was, yeah, so good. And I'm very, very proud to say that it won't be the last time I think people see Salazar. So there you go. Descriptions are brilliant, and I watch and listen to most of these during the week in background working on my computer. Oh, awesome. I'm glad that you guys appreciate the descriptions that I use for my games. I really do. You have no idea how much, like, that actually does give me a little bit of anxiety when I'm at a game, especially when I'm on another person's channel and I don't know their pacing. I don't want to set my own pacing and like kind of throw a spanner in the works. But I'm really glad that, you know, Careful Cantrip's been very embracing of, like, my style, and have welcomed me so much. Honestly, like, yeah, since How to Be a Great GM, I've always enjoyed being part of ensemble casts. Like, that's been me the whole way. And Careful Cantrip has just such amazing people in their crew. Dave is a phenomenal GM, somebody who's just got his head really fixed into the experiences of not only the players but the audience as well. He's so receptive to like story ideas and being able to go with them, like to really give his players like a yard to actually play with. And he was really supportive, especially in those early days where I was really worried about joining into a group, especially such an established group. You know, Bobby's freaking hilarious. I love Bobby. Bobby's character, as soon as it got me, as soon as I found out about Grimoire and the voice that he was using, I got all the references like to the character that he made, and you know, the fact that he was trying to kind of be very hedgy about like who his character was made me straight away. I've just felt like a connection to Bobby. And you know, like any kind of mischief that I could get with Bobby during that game is just going to be priceless, because you know, he's just such a wonderful performer. Jess is also an absolute light. She is such an amazing character. Oksana has just such a sense of hilarity about the way that they interact with the world, from like how they understand portal travel with like the fingers to like okay, we solve problem with throat punch, we smack you until problem solve itself. If violence isn't solving your problem, you're not using enough. You know, I love these kinds of characters, and it's great. And the fact that there's like this kind of soft spot, there's like this kindness for Grimoire, this protectiveness for the others, and now we're going through like a big section of her like sort of foreshadowing of her backstory and stuff. Ah, man, I'm so keen to see what Jess has got in store, and I'm very excited to be a part of a table with Jess. Rob honestly surprised me. I thought Rob was going to be like super quieted and reserved, and I thought Rob was going to be like kind of like okay, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but kind of like your average player, like not so much the performer, the actor. You know, this is someone who is here to play and understands the rules, and sometimes you need that in a table, sometimes you need that in an ensemble, someone who is the rock, who understands how to play the game. And honestly, when he stepped up, and you know, like when we saw just how like edgy he was with his initial intro, which quickly became like these moments of like absolute hilarity, where he's just like, you know, we could just throw him off the boat. You know, if someone's trying to kill you, you have to kill them first. And then when freaking Sicarius wore the what do you call it? The wig. When Rob got the wig out and went absolutely mental, I just couldn't stop laughing. I just had like, that was seriously one of the most fun games I've ever had, and now it just sits there all the time, and he just whips it out when he just feels that moment of inspiration. It's amazing. And Tristan, again, same thing. I was looking at Tristan, and Tristan, I have a friend exactly like Tristan, honestly, and like Tristan is deliberately funny, right? Like, whenever Tristan says something, or when you know, he's very quiet, but when he puts his word in, or when he gets his thing in edgewise, it's always either something really cool and meaningful, or something that's just got just the perfect comedic timing. Like when what the hell was this guy's name? Thompson. When Thompson, the guy we'd saved, was about to be let loose and sent back to you know, safety. You know, the fact that he pulled him back and said, Thompson, wait. Here's a couple of coins, just in case you die. You know, you know, like I said, just perfect comedic timing for him every single step of the way. And it's an instinct, I think, that he has, which makes it even more impressive. You know, like sometimes you can like really kind of look for those moments, and I do that as well. Like, you'll often see that there's sometimes where I'll just like, oh no, I'll shut up. Yeah, no, I'll be quiet. Swiss Dave. What am I saying? What did I say? Yes, Swiss Dave. I keep saying Tristan. Yes, but Swiss Dave. Yeah, Swiss Dave. Yeah, it's absolutely. What did I say? I feel like I said his name wrong this whole time. Was I saying Dave? Swiss Dave? What was I saying? Tell me. Someone tell me in chat. I was saying... How they reacted to the weekly twist that Basil adds. Yes, there are weekly twists at this point. I don't mean them to be weekly twists, but everyone keeps poking. And for me, it's like, why have a twist if you're not going to reveal it? You just don't need to reveal it all at once, you know? All right, hang on. I'm going to go put this away and then I'm going to come back. What was I calling Swiss Dave? I was just saying Tristan. Okay. Oh, okay, yes. Swiss Dave is awesome. And then there's Raina. Raina is so vividly aware of who V is. And getting to share a space with Raina has been an absolute blast. She's been so nice and so supportive, and I can see very clearly why Basil and her get on very, very well. They have kind of a very similar archetype, but very different ways of approaching it. And the great thing is that Raina invites people to the stage, and that's something that is a very rare quality in people, is that you don't just roleplay by saying, I think this, and I will go over here, and I will do this. You know, they're the people who turn around and say, hey, what do you think of this? Or, where should we go next? Or, come on, guys, let's make a decision, you know? And sometimes that's really hard, because if people don't give anything back, it kind of makes you feel like you're reaching at straws. But Raina is so strong with this character, and V has become just such a wonderful, addition to the ensemble group that it's honestly surprising that V has managed to like keep us together while at the same time not taking on that role of being like the party leader, as it were, you know. And I love that. I think it's a very powerful thing to have that kind of skill and that quality, but have the humbleness to be able to step aside and like let other people take the reins when it's appropriate. And she does that just so damn well. Yeah, the Careful Cantrip crew, they are high up on my list of favorite people and favorite tables to play with. So yeah, there you go. All right, what say we do some reading? Who's ready for some reading? Yeah, I'm ready for some reading. Dinner was amazing. Thank you so much for being patient with me. I really appreciate it. I would give you guys more channel points if I knew how to, but I don't. Can I set like double points for a while? No? I heard that someone can do it. Maybe you have to be partner to do it. And I am not partner. It's very sad, but very true. Very true. 30 minutes of pure chat was worth it. Aw, thank you, Schooly Eye. All right. Well, I am full up. I have my drink. Got my book. And we got to talk some cool stuff. I have way too many channel points. Well, use them, Hester. Throw them out there. Give me my wandering NPC. All right. So we're going to be reading Rowan and the Keeper of the Crystal. Now, as I said at the start of the stream, this is probably my favorite book of the series that I've read so far, and it introduces the Maris folk. So in the first book, we learned about Rin and the people of Rin, as well as Rowan. Actually, you know what? You can go and sit away. Goodbye. So you learned about Rowan, you learned about the Maris, you learned about Rowan and the town of Rin. They were a group of very hearty people that used to be slaves to a race known as the Zebak. But after a conflict, they managed to free themselves and settle in a small valley known as Rin. They lived there peacefully until the water stopped running, and they then had a small group of adventurers journey up the mountain to try and find what was wrong. Only one person managed to make it the whole way, and that was, of course, Rowan, the Keeper of the Bookshare. After facing down against the dragon, it became something of a legend, and that was the events of Book 1. Book 2 then saw another element to the world building of Rin and the world, which was, of course, the Travelers. A group of wandering nomads who allied with Rin during the time of the battles against the Zebak. But, without the war, they kind of did their own thing. Where Rin settled in the valley, they travel far and wide, being led by these large kites that have people on them. They share stories, they tell tales, they're a wonderfully colorful people. And in the second book, we saw that unintentionally, the mountain berries that were brought down from the mountain in the first book had actually been quite deadly. I won't go into too much detail in case people want to read the book and have it. The Travelers and Rin had to work together in order to save the people who had fallen under a deep sleeping sickness. So that was that whole book. So now in this book, we're learning about the last member of that alliance between Rin, the Travelers, and the Maris folk. So this book covers that one. Hey, crowd pleaser. Sup, DAG? How you doing? I'm doing well. How are you doing? You doing good? Let me know. Let me know in chat. Okay. So rules of the stream. There are no rules. Just say what you want. Do what you want. Just be cool to each other, okay? No hate speechers. No, ask questions. You can be about the story. It can be about D&D. It can be about my shitty voice acting. Whatever the case is, just, let me know. Let me know in chat. All right. Enjoy my weekend off. Just chilling, playing some Stardew. Nice. Please enjoy your weekend off. Today is chill day. Today is day of chill. Hopefully, these sultry words will help that day remain chill. Meatloaf is on guard duty. Okay. The message. 7 words written in dull black ink on a thin parchment that smelt of oil and fish. The crystal dims, the chooser is summoned. The sun was gentle on the valley of Rin the day the message came. A faint breeze ruffled the blossoms of the hoopberry trees in the orchard. Rowan stood by the bookshop pool, breathing in the sweet scent that carried him by the breeze. As the great beasts he tended drank, he gazed He gazed up at the snow-capped mountains that overlooked the valley. He could hear the sound of the birds, the insects chirping in the grass, the people working in the vegetable gardens and the fields. He could hear the bubbling of the stream as it rippled through the village and wound its way through the dreaming green hills behind him on its journey to the sea. For Rowan, this day seemed like a day like any other. And yet, the messenger was already very near. He was no longer just a flickering of shining blue in the distance. Already he was almost in sight of the village as he half ran, half stumbled through the hills, following the stream like a lifeline. Already his small webbed hands were feeling the inside of his cloak for the parchment he had carried. And in a few moments, the bell of the village square would ring to signal his arrival, to call a meeting. And after this day, for Rowan, nothing would ever be the same again. But you just said no hateful speech. Shush, McBluff. It's not hateful. It's self-deprecating. Okay, it's different. All right. Rowan joined the crowd in the square, standing on tiptoe to better see the messenger. He had come running like the others when he had heard the ring of the bell. Now he watched as Lan, the oldest person in the village, took the parchment from the fainting Maris man and read it aloud. 7 words. The crystal dims, the chooser is summoned. Afterwards, Rowan remembered it all as though it was a dream. Lan's voice loud in the square, her wrinkled hand holding out the parchment. The midday sun flittering through the trees, the surprised murmurs of the crowd. The soft breeze and sweet smells of the valley moved around him. He was surrounded by people he had known all of his life. Familiar birds sang in the trees above his head, and he felt no prickle of fear or inner warning. All he felt was interest and pleasure because something unexpected had happened to interrupt the routine of the day. A strange visitor all the way from the coast, from the home of the Maris. And an even stranger message. The crystal dims? What do you think it means? Rowan whispered to Jilla, his mother, standing tall and straight beside him. She didn't answer, but when he looked up at her to ask her again, the words died on his lips. Jilla's face was drained of color, and her eyes were fixated on the parchment in Lan's hand. Behind her, Strong John of the Orchard moved to put an arm around her shoulders. His mouth was grim. Rowan realized then that the message was of great importance, but still he had no idea that it was something that was going to affect him. Feeling a rising thrill of excitement and curiosity, he looked again at the figure crouching in exhaustion on the hard stones of the village square. It was his first glimpse of a Maris man, and none of the stories told by the villagers coming home from their journeys to the coast, none of the pictures that he had seen in the house books had prepared him for the reality. He knew he shouldn't stare, but it was hard to tear his eyes away. The man was clothed from wrist to ankle with tight-fitting blue The man was clothed from wrist to ankle in tight-fitting blue garments that glittered in the sunlight. Light boots covered his feet. He had cast aside the hood and gloves that he had been wearing when he first staggered into the village. Now everyone could see the glistening, hairless, blue-white skin of his head, face, and neck, his flat, glassy-looking eyes, his mouth wide and small webbed hands. He huddled, panting, at Lan's feet. She looked down at him, leaning heavily on her stick. "What is your name, Maris man?" she asked abruptly. Ooh, okay, the Maris. What do the Maris sound like? Elves, all ice. No, this, I can make this work. Yes, breathy. It's kind of almost Italian. No, maybe perhaps a little Italian. We'll find out. We'll see what this makes. Parlen of the clan Pendalis. And how long have you since you've left the coast, Parlen? 4 sons, gasped the man. His voice was dull and rasping. God damn it. 4 sons. 4 sons. There we go. Okay, we got there. And you think we wouldn't let you get away with the DAG? On him is a whole new meaning. It does. Looking down on them, looking down at them. Very different meanings. So let me try this with the raspy voice. Parlen of the clan Pendalis. And how long since you left the coast, Parlen? 4 sons. His voice was dull and rasping, and he raised his webbed hand to his throat as he spoke, as if the words themselves hurt him. A murmur of surprise rose from the crowd. It took the people of Rin at least a week to travel between their valley and the coast. This man must have run much of the way and barely slept. No wonder he was exhausted. They looked at him with a new respect. You have made good time. You have done well, Parlen of Pendalis. There is great danger, croaked the Maris man. The chooser of Rin has heard the sorry, no, that's a different person. He says, The chooser of Rin has heard the summons and will obey it, Lan said calmly. There has always been danger, but never in 300 years have we failed to answer the call. The chooser and the firstborn will leave for the coast with you at sunset. Rowan's heart leapt. Danger! Someone was about to go into great danger? Someone from Rin? But what was that danger? What did this mean? Who was the chooser? Chooser of what? Parlen was shaking his head. No, not so long. Every hour, every minute is precious. His throat moved as he swallowed painfully. You have been traveling in the sun, as well as under the moon, for too long. You must rest. You must soak, or you will die, Parlen, Lan said. It does not matter. The Maris man wet his dry lips. The death of one is of no account. This is your belief, but not ours, Lan said firmly. And besides, our people must prepare for the journey. The chooser will leave at sunset. She raised her voice. Is it agreed? There was a moment of silence. Rowan looked up curiously to Lan's face. She was frowning, staring at someone in the crowd, someone very near to Rowan. He turned his head to see who it was, and all around him, other children and most of the adults were doing the same. But a few of the adult faces were serious and intent. They know, he thought. They know. Is it agreed? Lan repeated. Does the chooser agree? Rowan felt a moment as someone stepped forward to stand alone in the center of the square. Yes, said a quiet voice. I agree. We leave at sunset. The Maris man looked eagerly towards the sound and then bowed his head, touching his forehead to the ground. Chooser of Rin, who holds the fate of the Maris in your hand, I greet you in the name of the Keeper of the Crystal. He breathed. I am your servant. I am the sand beneath your feet. My life is yours. Rowan blinked and gasped. He couldn't believe what was happening. He couldn't understand it. This can't be right. I would have known of it. There must be some mistake, he thought wildly. But there was no mistake. The person accepting the reverence of the crouching Maris man. The person the message had called the chooser. The person who was about to go into unknown peril. Was Jilla, his mother. End of chapter 1. Whew. Alright, well, I mean, let's not pretend like we didn't know what was happening. Who is the chooser? It's either going to be Rowan. And as soon as it said the firstborn son, I mean, it's kind of obvious. Like, yeah, of course it's going to be your mom. Because, I mean, the book is called Rowan Vryn. It's not going to be like, it is Gavin. Gavin of Bollock. And his firstborn child, Sarah. Yes, off they go. Fare thee well. And then Rowan lived quietly in his village forever. So, you know, there you go. Hey, Hester, thank you so much for the tip. Buddy, you are a bloody legend. Thank you so much, guys. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to be in America. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to be in America next year. I'm going to be attending Convergence in Utah in the early days of May. We raised funds to get me there, which is awesome, and we have achieved that. Next up is my cosplay costume. So I'm going to be traveling around Evermore Park, which is a D&D theme park, and I'm trying to get some costumes to wear so I can go and interact with you guys in character, dressed as characters, do a little bit of like performer stuff, and yeah, look, I mean, cosplay is a lot more expensive than I thought it was. There you go. So we're fundraising for the cosplay, and all proceeds for these streams and stuff like that go towards that. So, mwah! Thank you so much. Never heard of the story before. It is a pretty underrated story. For me, like, this was my version of Harry Potter. Like, this is what my first step into fantasy. It's a 5-part book series. We've done a reading of each of them. I mean, look, honestly, these readings are more of like an interact while you're watching thing, more than a, like, go watch it later. If you want to watch it later, you know, by all means, please feel free. You know, I'm not exactly making an audiobook here. But if you want to, I highly recommend picking it up to have a read. It is a really good read. Absolutely good read. Creative Garden had to step away to deal with something. Why did the Maris need Rin? Apparently the crystal is dimming. That is all we know. The crystal is dimming, and the chooser must come. So Jilla, Rowan's mother, is the chooser. Her and her firstborn son are needed. That's basically it. But yeah. Any thoughts on chapter 1? Any questions? Burning questions? Oh, it is super interesting. Like I said, I love how each book seems to add more to the depth of this world. And we learned lots about like the history of Rin and the really convoluted relationship between Rin, the Travelers, the Maris, and of course the evil Zebak. The next book is actually Rowan and the Zebak. So I've not actually read that one, and I'm very interested to see what happens in that book. But such cool stuff. All right, well, if there's no more questions, let's keep pressing on, because we ate about half an hour at the start of the stream, so let's keep going. Chapter 2, The Crystal of Maris. What's happening, Mother? Tell me. Oh, McBluff. Is this a flashback, prequel, or is it current day? I mean, this is current day. Yeah, this is current day. Well, I wish you good reading. Gotta go get food. No worries. Go eat some food. Please enjoy. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope that it remains as chill, and I hope that your Stardew adventures continue to be fruitful and amazing. Also, be sure to check us out later on tonight / tomorrow when we do our Pathfinder game. All right. What's happening, Mother? Tell me. Rowan clutched at Jilla's arms as they hurried from the square, but she strode on, frowned in silence. Wait, Skinny Rabbit, Strong John muttered to him. He jerked his head and chatted to the crowd. Jerked his head at the chattering crowd behind him. Your mother will not speak to her alone. Be patient. His voice was confident as always, but Rowan could tell by his face that he was worried and shaken. John and Jilla walked quickly on. Rowan's younger sister, Anad, skipped along in front of them. Anad understood little of what had happened in the square. She and her friends had been far too busy whispering to each other and peeping at the strange-looking Maris to pay attention to anything else. Rowan stumbled behind, his mind whirling with questions, thoughts, and fears. All he understood so far was that his mother had to go to Maris, that he, her firstborn child, had to go with her, and some terrible danger awaited them at the end of the journey. But what danger? And why did they all have to go? And why did they have to go? Maris. Rowan tried to remember all he knew about it. Timon the teacher had told the children many tales of the land of the coast, tales of serpents of the sea, of battles and storms, and some of the history of the strange Maris folk. But suddenly Rowan remembered one special day under the teaching tree, a warm summer's day. Timon had been showing them pictures from a book, pictures of the Maris folk. They all look alike to Rowan, except some wore silver, some wore blue, and some green. The Maris are a secret people, Timon said, pointing to the pictures one by one. Though they trade freely with us and others from across the sea, they do not open their hearts to strangers, and little is known of them. But some things we do know. The Maris are divided into 3 tribes or clans. The Silver Clan of the Ombre, the Green Clan of Fisk, and the Blue Clan of Pendalis. In ancient times, these clans fought bitterly. Every night, it is said, the sea ran with blood, and the serpents feasted on Maris flesh. But for 1,000 years, the clans have been united under one all-powerful leader, the Keeper of the Crystal. The first Keeper was a man named Orin the Wise. It was he who found the crystal, a treasure of great power and mystery in a cave beneath the Maris Sea. Rowan was tired that day. Had he been woken in the night by a bad dream? Had it taken him too long to fall back to sleep? So he was half drowsed under the teaching tree, listening to Timon that day, with only part of it in his mind. Rowan of the Bookshire, what did I just say? Timon's voice jerked him wide awake. There are 3 clans, he stammered, feeling himself blush. Their leader is the Keeper of the Crystal. The other children giggled and nudged one another. They knew how shy Rowan was, and usually he was quiet and good in lessons. They thought it funny to finally see him caught out. Timon frowned warningly at them and went on. Very well. There was once a 4th clan, the clan of Mirrel. They were experts in poisons. They created 1,001 deadly poisons, and for every poison an antidote. But the Mirrel were all destroyed when the Zebak invaded the coast 300 years ago. Again, he looked at Rowan, his grey eyes piercing. And what else happened 300 years ago, Rowan? That was when our ancestors came here and Rin began, Rowan said in a low voice. Timon nodded. Correct. The Zebak have tried to invade the coast of this land many times, but 300 years ago they came with an army of warrior slaves chained to the oars of their ships, and those slaves were our ancestors. Timon's face was grave as he continued. The morning the Zebaks landed, all the Maris clans were meeting in their separate meeting houses. No one had been left outside on guard. No one knew the enemy had come. The Zebak crept up to the Miral house and threw an exploding fire inside. There was a great roar, and sheets of flame shot up to the sky. The building fell and burned. Everybody died. Not a single member of the Miral clan was left alive. No man, no woman, no child. Timon had everyone's attention now. The children under the teaching tree fell silent. All of which well knew the terror of fire. Our ancestors saw this happen, Timon went on. They saw the Zebak laughed as the fire raged. The horror of that moment was one of the reasons why they were roused to turn against the Zebak at last. They broke their chains and joined the people of this land to fight and defeat their enemy. It was the most important day in our history. And then Timon did a strange thing. He closed the book and leaned forward, and suddenly it seemed to Rowan that Timon was speaking to him alone. We must never forget, Timon said slowly, his eyes fixated on Rowan's, that the Maris folk have been vital to our safety ever since. For the Maris guards the coast. Without them, the Zebak would have come and claimed us again long ago. The Zebak plots ceaselessly against this land, and they grow more cunning with every year that passes. We must never lose the trust of the Maris, whatever the cost. Soon afterwards, the lesson had ended. Thinking about it later, Rowan decided that he had been foolish to think that Timon was speaking particularly to him. For why should this story be more special to Rowan than it was to any of the other Rin children? But now, the message from the Maris still ringing in his ears, he felt differently. Timon was speaking to me, especially to me that day, he thought, his heart beginning to thud. Timon knew that someday the message from Maris would come. He was warning me that I must not fight it, that I must do my duty. But what duty? It was something to do with the crystal, the fabled crystal of Maris. The crystal dims, the chooser is summoned. Few outside the Maris understand just how powerful and mysterious the crystal is. Very few, Timon once said. And again his greyish eyes seemed to flick in Rowan's direction. Rowan stepped slowly. Yes, the crystal was at the heart of this. Had Timon said anything more about it? Just one thing. And he had said it so gravely, as though it was very important. The Maris live long, far longer than we of Rin, and the keepers reach a greater age than any of them, because of the power of the crystal. But still there comes a time where each keeper knows death is near, and at this time the crystal begins to lose its fire and strength. Then a new keeper must be chosen to take the old one's place. The new keeper must join with the crystal before the old keeper dies so that its power is not lost. The crystal dims. Rowan's throat tightens. Suddenly he saw the message for what it meant. Far away in Maris, the keeper of the crystal was dying. A new keeper had to be chosen. But why had the message come to Jilla? Why had the message called her the chooser? What did she, a woman of Rin, have to do with the keeper of the crystal? Rowan looked up and saw Jilla and John stopped and were waiting for him. They had reached the pathway ahead that led to their garden and the fields beyond. Annette had run through the gate already, leaving it gaping open. He hurried to join them. Go into the house now, Rowan, Jilla said in a low voice, and pack clothes for the journey. Warm clothes, for it will be cold in Maris. Then go to the Bookshire fields and make Star ready. She will have to come with us to carry supplies. She waited for him to go and do as she had asked, but he had hesitated. "Make haste now," she said sharply. "We leave at sunset." Rowan stood where he was. "Please, Mother," he said. "Why do we have to go? How can you be this chooser?"
"Jilla, you must tell him," Strong John urged. "You can delay no longer."
Jilla sighed. She closed the gate and gazed out over the crops that had rippled like a green sea before her. "I am the chooser because I was born to the task, Rowan," she said finally. "It is a duty that has been handed down through our family for hundreds of years." Our family? Rowan could hardly believe what he was hearing. But why? And why did I not know of this before? Lan knew, John knew, Timon knew. Many must have known it. He felt a quick rush of baffling anger. "Why did no one tell me?" he demanded.
It is a thing known to few in Rin, by the wish of the Maris," said John, putting a steady hand on Rowan's shoulder.
"Perhaps I should have told you before now, but I did not want to trouble you until it was necessary," Jilla said, still looking straight ahead. "You have always been one who worries about things, Rowan." Rowan flinched. He knew very well that had he been a stronger, braver person, his mother would have shared this secret with him long ago. She seemed to understand what he was feeling, for she glanced at him and touched his hand. "I wanted to protect you for as long as I could," she whispered. "That is all."
"Well, the time to tell the truth has come," said Strong John. "Now Rowan must hear the whole story."
End of chapter 2. All right. Rad. It's pretty cool. How we feeling? Kind of getting a good sense of what's going down? Any questions, any thoughts, any vibes, feelings? Let me know. I feel like I've read this book before. Maybe. It is, it's a very, you're Australian, so I read it at my school library, so one presumes that, that it may have been, circling around back when you were in high school or primary school, probably. Yeah, there you go. Cocoa, biscuits, and great story. What's a nice Sunday? Oh my god, that sounds amazing. Hester. Ah, just tell me you're outside on like a patio in like the sun, and that would be like perfect. You'd be perfect. I really want a hot cocoa now. I won't get a hot cocoa. It's fine. I don't need one. I can go without one. It's fine. I did read a lot of Emily Rodder at school. Yeah, Del Toro Quest is another really, really good one. Del Toro Quest is the most popular of her series, I'd say. At least the ones that I'm aware of. I wouldn't say I'm an Emily Rodder fan, but this book definitely was, like I said, one of the first things there. If you're gonna cook it up, you need mini marshmallows too. Oh my god, do you know the cheeky thing you can do with marshmallows? Is before you put them into your hot chocolate, is you give them a light toast. You get on the little... Don't use a gas heater. Use like a little like wooden match. Just like burn it up a little bit, then dunk them in your thing. Just so good. So good. Yeah, definitely read Del Toro. Yeah. Del Toro Quest is like one of the bigger ones. And I think there's even a cartoon series somewhere floating around. I have not watched Del Toro Quest or read Del Toro Quest, but I've heard a lot about it. Yeah. All right. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I am feeling a bit drained, so I'm gonna go for one more chapter, and I think we'll call it a little early today. I know that's awful because I know that we started a little bit late, but I have an early morning tomorrow, and I want to be crisp and happy and full of all the cool stuff for my table tomorrow as well. But that being said, if you guys have questions, thoughts, or things you want to talk about before I go, we'll have a little bit of a chat session after we read the next chapter. So, yeah, if you have any thoughts, let me know. Whew, okay. Chapter 3, the Chooser. Also, hi, Leska. Okay. And so at last, pacing beneath the trees of the garden, Rowan heard the secret that his mother had kept from him for so long. When the Zebak had invaded the coast, on the day that Timon had called the most important in Rin's history, they had timed their arrival carefully. The spies had told them that the crystal of Maris was fading, the keeper was dying, the choosing of a new keeper was about to begin. The Zebak were sure that this was the perfect time to attack, not only because the jealous Maris clans were busy plotting so that one of their own could be chosen as the new keeper, but also because the keeper itself was weak and would not grow strong again until the choosing was over. The Zebak knew that the choosing was governed by special rules set down by Orin the Wise. Orin had realized that when he died, each clan would demand one of their own as the keeper, and he did not want the power of the crystal to be lost while the clans fought over it. Orin's rules were simple. The candidates for the keeper would go together to the island in the Marish harbor, not to fight because the Maris did not greatly prize physical strength, but to take special tests of cleverness and cunning. The candidates would be judged by a single chooser. Whichever candidate was chosen at the end of the test would be the keeper of the crystal. Orin was clever, and he understood his people well. He knew that the chooser had to be someone that everyone could trust. So he decreed that the chooser would always come from his own clan, the clan of Mirrell. But in return for this honor, no Mirrell could ever again be a keeper of the crystal. The Mirrell chooser would select from only 3 candidates, one from Fisk, one from Umbrae, and one from Pindalis. In this way, the chooser's clan would have nothing to lose or gain. The choice would always be fair. The people accepted Orin's decree. It held for centuries until something happened which even Orin himself could not have foreseen. The Zebak attacked. While the old keeper lay dying, and their very first act was to destroy the Mirrell, not by chance, not because the Mirrell house was the closest to the shore, but because they wanted to destroy the Chooser clan. They wanted to stop a new keeper from being chosen. Then the crystal would fade forever and victory would be theirs. Their plan nearly succeeded. There were candidates for the keeper, but with all the Mirrell dead, there was no chooser. And even in this crisis, with battle raging on the Maris shores, the Fisk, Pindalis, and Umbrae clans could not agree to leave the choice to one of their own, nor would they leave it to the keeper himself, who was in any case dying and unable to move from the cavern of the crystal where he lay. But the Zebak had forgotten one thing. The crystal, even dim, carried within it the wisdom of the ages, and the old keeper, even dying, had the cunning of Orin himself. The old keeper knew where he could find a chooser for his people, one that they would accept. He turned to the strangers, the warrior slaves who had risen up against the Zebak masters and had been fighting alongside his own people. With the help of the crystal, he selected a man to be the chooser. That man was Jilla's ancestor, and Rowan's. His name was Leith. So while the battle raged, Leith went to the island and chose the new keeper, Jiller said. The crystal began to shine with new radiant life, and my father told me that its power was at its strongest when a new keeper is chosen, and so it proved that day. Immediately the tide of battle turned. The Zebak were beaten and driven away, and the land was saved. And our ancestors were freed from slavery to start a new life. That was hundreds of years ago, said Rowan. Jiller nodded. It was, but the duty Leith accepted at the Maris that day had been passed down through our family ever since.
It is a great honor, said John quietly.
A great honor, and at the same time a curse. Jiller's face was set and pale. Why? Begged Ron. Why a curse? Jiller put out her hand and grasped the latch of the door. Because to be a chooser in Maris is to be in terrible danger, she whispered.
It is to risk death. Suddenly she spun around and took Rowan's face in her hands. I would give anything to spare you, Rowan. Anything. And yet I cannot spare you. I must take you with me, to take my place as the chooser should I die. And each of us must face what is to come, with courage, each of us alone. She dropped her hands from Rowan's cheek and turned and hurried into the house. Rowan followed her inside, his mind filled with confusion and fear. Why, Mother? Why should we be in danger? He cried. Because of the Zebak? Because they know that the time to attack the coast is when the crystal is dim? No, Jilla cried sharply. Her eyes were fierce. Rowan shrank back. It frightened him to see his mother like this. She was usually so calm and unafraid. Jilla. Strong John stepped forward. Let us sit down. We will eat, sit, and drink, and you can answer Rowan's questions as they should be answered in peace. There is no time, began Jilla, wringing her hands, and quite suddenly she gave in. Her shoulders thumped. She pulled out a chair and sat down at the table. Perhaps you're right, she said softly. I am at fault. I've carried this burden alone for so long, it's hard for me to share it now that the moment has come. She shook her head. My father said the same thing to me in his time. Did grandfather choose a keeper? Rowan asked, sitting down timidly beside her. His grandfather had died when he was small. Rowan mainly remembered a wide, gentle smile, blue eyes, and hands hard and rough for the work from the field. Carving animals from wood with a small knife. Jilla shook her head. No, my father was never summoned, she said. The present keeper was chosen by his mother, my grandmother. But father knew the crystal would almost certainly dim in my lifetime, and it grieved him very much. John put bread, cheese, and milk on the table. Eat, Jilla. That's so aggressive. It's so hard to do that deep voice. Hey, Helvy, when will you read 50 Shades of Grey to you in private session? Well, you know what? There's a Dead Aussie Gamer OnlyFans. There's a Dead Aussie Gamer. There is actually a Dead Aussie Gamer OnlyFans. I haven't done anything to it. Don't get excited. I want to do, like, GM pump-ups sessions. You know, that kind of thing. It'd be fun. Anyway. Do not subscribe to my OnlyFans. Okay, where was I? I've lost my spot. Yes, eat, Jiller. Eat, Jiller. Like, having a deep voice is very tricky. To be, like, affectionate and deep. Eat, Jiller. Eat, Jiller. Eat, Jiller. Okay, yeah, let's try again. John put bread, cheese, and milk on the table. Eat, Jiller. Eat, Jiller. Fuck, so hard. So hard. He says to eat, Jiller. No, he says eat, Jiller. And Rowan, you eat too. You need all of your strength in the days to come. Missing meals will help none. They began to eat the food, and John was right. Rowan thought eating did help. He had not realized he was so hungry. So to be the chooser is dangerous, he said calmly. Why is that? It is because the Maris have not changed, growled John. The jealousy between the clans is like a madness. He put his hands on Jilla's arm. Tell him the rest. Rowan's mother nodded reluctantly and began to speak again. As each keeper grows old, the Maris clans prepare for the choosing. Each clan has at least one candidate, trained from his or her earliest years for the test to come. The people of each clan will do anything at all, to make sure that their candidate will win. They will steal, spy, cheat, and lie. They will even kill if they suspect that the chooser is favoring another. She crumbled the bread on her plate, staring at it with unseeing eyes. What? She crumbled the bread on her plate, staring at it with unseeing eyes. Oh, so like vacant stare. Okay, that makes sense. Many of our family have died in Maris. My great-grandfather was the last. Grieving and in fear, my grandmother, his firstborn child, had to take his place as chooser while he lay dead in the cavern of crystal. She did it bravely, it is said, and though she was only 15. Rowan felt his stomach turn over, but he forced to keep himself silent. Giller went on. She had always known the danger. Many others in our family had died in the centuries before, killed by jealous candidates or clan spies. Very, very often, the choosing has brought death to the chooser. Poison, sharp blades in the dead of night, bodies bound with nets and thrown into the hungry sea. Rowan looked at his mother in horror. But that is madness. John nodded. As I told you, madness. He echoed, a madness that has been going on for 1,000 years. It is the Maris way, sighed Giller, and there is no point raging against it. Now, at least, the clans savage one another only when the crystal dims. Once a new keeper has been chosen, the Maris will come together again, swearing loyalty and obeying their leader without question. So it has been. So it has always been. Rowan took a deep breath. If both of us are killed, he said in a level voice, does that mean Anad? No, Giller smiled tiredly. My one happiness is that Anad is too young to be summoned. If you and I should die, Rowan, the duty passes to another. To Timon, for his family is the next in line. Timon. So that's why Timon's eyes had been so grave when he spoke of the Crystal of Maris. John pushed his plate away and stood up. Well, he said, we have talked, we've eaten, and now we must work. If we are to leave at sunset, there is much to do. Gilla looked up, startled. We? She said. You are not coming with us, John. Of course. Do you think I would let you and Rowan go alone? She shook her head. John, this is my duty and Rowan's, but there is no need for you to put yourself in danger as well. No need. There is every need, John said gently. You know it. You know, too, that if Rowan's father was alive, he would have gone with you to the coast, to be with Rowan while you were at the choosing, if for nothing else. You must allow me the same right. We are betrothed, but not married yet. And now, perhaps... Giller's voice trembled as she turned away. Rowan felt his breath catch in his throat, and John gripped the edges of the table. Do not say such things. All will be well. You will be safe, and so will Rowan, and I will see to it. The words were brave, but Rowan knew that John, for all of his strength, could not protect them against what they were about to face. No one could protect them. His mother's voice echoed once more in his mind. Each of us must face whatever comes with courage. Each of us alone. End of chapter 3. Alright, so, grim stuff. Grim stuff indeed. We've learnt a little bit more about the invasion of the Zebak and sort of their big deal in that. Man, that's a heavy burden. What about you guys? Would you have told Rowan about the duties that befell his family earlier than Gilla would have? Would you have I mean, here's the thing. I think Strong John going with them makes sense, but I mean, why doesn't he stay behind and look after Anad? I mean, what happens if Rowan and Gilla are out of the picture? She's gonna lose Anad, Rowan, and maybe even John simultaneously, Rowan, Gilla, and John. If they all go, Anad is growing up alone. Anad is becoming an orphan straight away. John won't be able to protect her and look after her, and it's just, that's rough. That's rough, John. I mean, I get it, but that's my feelings towards that. Also, what a dig. Oh my god, we are betrothed, but we're not married? Back the hell off? What the hell, Giller? Savage. So savage. Thanks for the reading deck. Oh, no, thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming and joining us and having a good time. Sorry I can't go for longer today. Like I said, today has been well, it's not been a hard day, but it's definitely a day that I know I need a little bit more rest, a little bit more time to recuperate and the like, and I'm going to take it so that my players don't suffer next in the next game, which is in like what 10 hours ish, give or take. I know this has to be so the story can happen, but it sounds like the Maris just need to learn how to work together or die. The chooser seems like a bit of a crutch, and someone needs to make them get their shit together. Yeah, you know what? Like, you're not wrong, but you know this is actually a story construct from Lord of the Flies, where in order to work together, they had to you know, hold the magic conch in order to actually communicate and be the ones to speak. So having this as like just a stopgap of like you need this in order to, you know, like work together, can sometimes be a really good binding agent. You know, especially if it is something everyone agrees to and there is a fair chance to it. I love the story. I didn't remember the story about like the Jiller being a chooser and all that sort of stuff. But I loved the fact that, I mean, part of me is like I'm really enraptured with the story of the Zebak and like how clever they were to choose the timing right to like kill the right clan at the right moment. It's just like there's part of me that's just like that's pretty impressive. Like you're spies, you cheeky Zebak, you chicken Zebak, you know exactly what you did there. Well done, kudos. You almost got him too. If it wasn't for those pesky slaves, you know. There you go. But if everyone's trying to kill the conch holder and their firstborn, is that really a stopgap to make them work together? I mean, here's the thing: if there is no winner, there is no leader, and that's equally as bad for them. You know, the idea I think would be that you would try to kill the chooser if you feel like things aren't going your way, but then let the person who is the most impartial fall under your influence, and there'd be a lot more you'd be able to do to try and influence a child than you would be able to influence someone who had, you know, like a lot more years under the belt. As my thought. Also, we're implying that it's always going to happen when the young person is also there. Like, you know, you've got the generation, but it could be that you're an old man, and then your adult firstborn child is the chooser. So, you know, that could very much also be a case there. Especially a child who doesn't know the family history in the choosing. Yeah, that's very true. I mean, like, Jilla definitely put Rowan in a position where he is definitely, like, without knowing, like, the Maris tribes and, like, anything about them and stuff like that. I mean, it does mean that he is probably the most impartial, but at the same time, he is very ill-equipped for whatever the Maris are going to throw at him and his mother. And the prediction here, because I can't remember it, but knowing the way that the story should/need to go, something is definitely going to take Jiller out of the running. I'm fairly certain she doesn't die, because I feel like I'd remember that. But who knows? Maybe she does. I hope not. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Also, Liska, just to answer your question from earlier, Pokemon is going very well. I'm quite enjoying it. I finished the main story, and I am doing all the little gathering things. There's like this really bullshit crazy Pokemon who you have to collect like 999 coins in order to evolve. I don't like it, but I am going to be doing it. Don't scare us, DAG. Man, I don't know. Like, I mean, like, I'm just like speaking, like, I'm just talking like from the DAG read story plot points. Seems like a perfect opportunity for Rowan to pull a Cadmus. I will not bow to your rules. I will do things my own way. Yeah, that's true. Very, very much so. Just beat the first gym trainer. Nice. All right. Where are we gonna go? Who is doing stuff today? Is Mandari up doing things yet? I don't think she is. think it might be a little bit early for Mendari. Let's see. The Dirty 20 is up and doing stuff. Yeah, there we go. Let's go raid the Dirty 20. Boom. Bunch of wonderful TTRPGers from Southeast Asia. They are playing in a fun little game over on their channel. So we're going to go hang out with them for a little while. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed a nice chill stream. We will see you in, let's see, it is currently 10:30, so half an hour, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 9 hours. So 9.5 hours. I will be back here on the channel. We're going to be playing Curse of the Crimson Throne with our wonderful players. We've just dealt with some vampire stuff, and now we are back on the road to trying to cure a plague that is gripping the town of Kintago? No, Corvosa. That's the one. So there you go. You'll be sleeping then. Good. Good. I hope you will be. Rest well. Be safe. Stay wonderful. And guys, as always, from me to you, till we meet again, game hard or die trying. Good night, folks.